My little buddy is here and he's a little anxious, so I'm not so sure how this is going to go. Ow, that hurt. Otis, sit. No. Sit. Okay. So, earlier this month, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey shocked the entire world. Now the reports are coming that Meghan's estranged father, Thomas Markle, is taking a short trip up to Montecito, California. So Mr. Markle is getting bold, and we can't blame him because he needs to set the record straight, and he needs to show that he has been spoken about and he needs to defend himself and his truth. So, reportedly, he drove to Oprah's home, which is just miles away from Meghan and Harry's mansion, in an attempt to communicate with Oprah and to personally deliver a letter asking her to interview him. Now, the Sun has shared some images showing that the 76-year-old had hand-delivered a letter to a security guard wearing a mask outside of Winfrey's Montecito estate. Thomas delivered a letter to Oprah asking her to contact him so that he could tell his side of the story, an insider said. Now, clarifying that the note was not for the royal couple and meant for Oprah. Now, I just want to take a second to say that this really says a lot. The fact that Mr. Markle delivered this letter to Oprah's estate, it tells me that she was not taking his phone calls. She was not allowing him to even have a conversation with her. And he had to make this trip to her home because she's essentially saying she doesn't want to hear what he has to say. That's what I gather from it. Because think about it. He lives in Mexico, Mr. Markle. Taking the effort to make this long trip to visit Winfrey's house is a little bit of going out of the way when you should be able to just pick up the phone and Miss Winfrey would take your phone call. And she's not. Yes, it's not okay. It's not okay that he had to actually drive to her estate because Oprah wasn't taking his phone calls. I think that is rude. I think that under normal circumstances, Oprah would have had taken his side of the story. But what has happened here, you could almost bet, is that Meghan said no. She told Oprah that I will give you a story of my truth. You have to report on my story, but I'm not going to do it if you counter and have my dad's side of the story. And that to me is just showing that you don't even want the truth. You just want one version of what has happened and you don't want that countered. The whole idea that Mr. Markle even wants to give his side of the story says to me that he's trying to shake things up. But he's like, no, you're going to have to listen to me. He's like, he's knocking on the door and Oprah don't want to open the door, but he is going to make Oprah open the door. Okay. So Thomas has previously stated that he has wanted to talk to Oprah about his relationship with Meghan. He told The Sun in January of 2020, I was going to write Oprah a letter asking her to let me have an opportunity to speak. So apparently he's already done this. He's already asked Oprah for an interview and she said no. And, you know, just going back to the idea that he even has to resort to this, considering the man's health and his desperation to really have a relationship with his daughter. It's really disgraceful to even see all of this play out. For Meghan's sake, you would think that she would just simply just meet with her dad. Know that this is something she's going to have to clear up. It's not going to go away. And it just makes her look bad because it shows that you are being insensitive to your parent. And we've heard Mr. Markle apologize for what has happened. He was put in a very compromising situation. I can imagine that there was just so much going on And he felt like he had to do what he had to do to make himself come across to look better. And we don't know what has actually transpired prior to him telling Meghan that he didn't do this with the magazines. You know, there could have been something that had happened with Mr. Markle and Meghan that made him resort to having to tell her the lie, essentially. And he did it. And he's sorry for what he did, but we don't know the reasons why he did this. And it just makes her look like she's being insensitive to a man that clearly has a health problem. The Sun said that Thomas delivered a letter to Oprah asking for her to contact him so he could tell his side of the story. And if Oprah is interested in the truth getting out there, if she's going to show that she's not being slanted one side towards Meghan and her truth, then she would be open to listening to what it is that Mr. Markle has to say so that Mr. Markle can get his side of the story told. And it really is only fair, right? It's only fair. This was not a note to Meghan and Harry. It was meant for Oprah. And we know Meghan is not going to be feeling that letter. She's going to be like, Oprah, what is in that letter? I want to know. Tell me. Because I think Meghan has got Oprah wrapped around her little finger for the access that she wants with the royal family. Because otherwise, Otis, you're snoring. So it looks like he wanted to speak to Oprah before Meghan even had her interview with Oprah. Because he knew it was going to be lies. He was like, let me try to tell my story first. Because we know she's going to be doing all kind of spinning and telling of lies. You're going to hear things from my daughter. I think it'd be best for you, Miss Oprah, to keep your reputation to hear what I have to say as well. Because he knows his daughter. And he was right to have wanted to speak to her before Meghan did. She spoke with Oprah about his betrayal for lying about posing for paparazzi pictures, which she claimed would lead to problems protecting her own children. It's believed that she was talking about a notice sent around to newspapers on behalf of her and Harry, warning them to respect Thomas's privacy. Now, hours later, though, it emerged that he had breached his own privacy by cooperating with the photographer. Okay, so you know what? This is what I'm starting to see. This is what this looks like to me. And I could be wrong, but so Mr. Markle saw that he had an opportunity to pose for some pictures to make himself look better, to have good representation within the paper. Meghan saying, don't speak to the newspapers. You know, I'm going to put out a statement telling them to respect your privacy. Do not talk to them. Don't associate with them. So Mr. Markle probably already had something planned with these one photographer just to take pictures of him. Or he could have been thinking, well, I'm not really having an interview with the people from the newspaper. I'm just allowing them to take pictures of me. So he could have very well easily thought that the pictures that I'm taking with the newspapers is not what Meghan is talking about. She's talking about interviewing with the papers, talking about certain things. But he simply just took pictures with the reporters for the pictures that were in the paper. So I can see there being a misunderstanding. And then when Meghan came out and said, well, why did you talk to the newspapers? I told you not to talk to the newspapers. And he could have been like, well, I didn't talk to anybody, Meg. I simply took pictures. Doesn't that seem like a plausible explanation to what actually happened? So it wasn't really a betrayal. When you look at it, it could have been a misunderstanding. It could have been, him thinking that he is not to speak to the newspapers, but him having them take pictures of him is not the same thing. So for Miss Winfrey, for Oprah to ask the question about betrayal and Meghan saying that he betrayed her, you can't look at this and think it's a real betrayal. It wasn't something that was giving the inside scoop to something that happened in your private life that your father went out and told the world. This interview with Meghan is a betrayal of the royal family, all at the same time. So, you really have to look closer and deeper into what is actually happening. This is not what the line of questioning that Oprah gave to Meghan, what it looks like to be. And good for Mr. Markle for doing this. Good for him for really fighting for his daughter, essentially. He is fighting to have a relationship with his grandson. He's fighting to have his name, his honor, because Meghan is tearing this man down. And not only is she tearing her father down, but we know that she's doing it to her husband's family. She's done it to her family, her mother's family, her husband's family, her own family, the UK people family. Like, there is a history going on here. An unprecedented history of somebody who is just a tornado coming through the family. And it's embarrassing because most Americans are not going to take the time to really understand what has actually happened. They're going to be misinformed. They're not going to be properly educated on everything that has happened around this Meghan Markle interview. And they are going to someday realize that they were duped by Meghan. It will happen one day when they wake up to the facts. But going on here, so Meghan told Oprah, when I said we won't be able to protect our kids one day, and I said, so I just need you to tell me, if you tell me the truth, we can help. So Meghan is saying this to her father. He wasn't able to do that. And that for me has really resonated, especially now as a mother. I look at Archie, I think about this child, and I genuinely can't imagine doing anything intentionally to cause pain to my child. I don't think Mr. Markle has intentionally caused pain to his daughter either. I think this is a situation of misunderstanding about what was communicated to the papers and the fact that he wanted to get his portrayal cleaned up in the media. He didn't want people looking at him in a way that made him not look good. It was his chance for vindication, essentially. And who can really get on the man for wanting to look decent in the papers? Like, who doesn't want to look halfway decent when they have everyone looking at them? It's not an unreasonable request. And I think his daughter should know that. She should be able to look and say, okay, I can see why my dad did that. But once again, it's all about her, and it's not really about her dad and his reasons and justification for doing what he has done. So that's what happens when someone is only thinking about themselves. Following the Oprah interview, Thomas, who claims Meghan and Harry scolded him as he lay in hospital after suffering a heart attack before the wedding, hit back on Good Morning Britain. So speaking 2 days after the Oprah interview, he called Prince Harry snotty. He also denied that the royal family in Britain was racist, saying a comment over his grandson Archie's skin tone was just a dumb question, calling the royal couple's claims bull. So good for Mr. Markle. Good for you. And also wanted to make a comment about what Serena Williams said. So Serena, I thought could have been a little bit, I thought she was our saving grace. I really did think that Serena was going to be that one friend whose eyes had opened. And we know from the Naomi Campbell interview that she didn't want to speak on Meghan Markle. But it seems that we were misreading into that, and that she has still kept her friendship with Meghan. She has the integrity of someone that would be able to hold her own. And if she saw a friend was misbehaving, she seems like the kind of friend that would call him out. But she's like succumbing to the Markle spell. She's like, yeah, she was wonderful and graceful. Come on, Serena. And this is what she said. Okay, Williams said to Meghan is the strongest person I know and has had to handle things that are just untrue minute after minute. But we're going to debunk the things, because the reality is Meghan is so good that she's able to get her friends to believe that there are lies against her. People need to wake up and see what is really going on here. And I know for myself, I can just see so clearly how all of this happened. Because if you go back and you look, okay, Meghan was on this show, this cable series Suits, but really it's an actor's dream to get a job like what Meghan had. And she was doing a lot of media appearances. If you go online, you can see a lot of different interviews that she gave. And these were all publicity media shows that she had done while being on the show Suits. So she was an up and coming actor. But see, she wanted so much more a lot quicker than what she was getting it. And this was a much quicker way to stardom by marrying the prince and getting what she wanted. Because at this point, she's already older, close to her 40s. She's on this television series that seems to be doing pretty well. And it's going to pretty much stay like this as an actor. She was going to be a working actor in a cable run television show, and that was going to be her life as an actor. It wasn't going to be going for after movie roles and doing different things. She wanted more than just that mundane regular series actor. She wanted to be able to climb to movie stardom and to get much further past the stardom that she had already reached with the television show. And so she was bored with that type of a lifestyle that she saw being the end for all for her. And the things that have happened since coming into the royal family, you see that she is steering the narrative away from her life now as a duchess and bringing that all back to California to start it all over and to have this rebirth as a new person and a new life. And now a much more globally recognized person, and now reestablishing herself with A-list actors. And I find it very interesting as well, all of the actors who have not come out to speak for Meghan. Now, we could be wrong about that as well. Maybe they just don't want to get into it, but secretly they're still friends with Meghan. But be very wary of this, because I can assure you, if you are attaching yourself to Meghan and it comes out later about all of the lies, like once it really starts to pick up steam, all the lies that were told during the Oprah interview, everyone who has attached themselves to Meghan is going to be hurting as well. They're going to have a damaged brand. So I think to protect themselves from any allegations that may come out later, they're just staying clear from saying anything right now. Not even day after day, just minute after minute, another untrue allegation being thrown at her. I think it was important for me to say something because I'm tired of sitting back and seeing all this negativity that's just not true. Well, Serena, unfortunately for you, the negativity that is happening really is centered around what your friend Meghan Markle is doing. And the allegations that are being told by Meghan are the ones that are not true. She is the one who has not told the truth. And we're just going to have to just keep talking about what happened in the Oprah interview to really understand all of the lies, because there were lies, there were mistruths, and we can see this is all a calculation for super stardom. But what has happened here is the greed for celebrity and stardom and to have just so much more than you already have. It's despicable. Peace and love. Bye-bye.